As you saw in previous section, I did not have any let's check this. I did not have any neighbor on serial interface. You can see that I did not receive a hello message and I did not create a neighborship with any other router. This means that either I have not put this interface under router configuration, OSPF configuration, or the network type, the OSPF network type is not supported for this type of interface. So let's check both of this. I know that using the show IP protocol, I know that this interface is in process. You can see that the routing for networks has this in area 0. So the next thing that I should go and check is the show IP OSPF interface, and now the serial 00 interface is going to be checked. You can see that the network type is non-broadcast. This means that I do not send any hello message, and I'm not expecting to receive any hello message, of course. And if I want to create neighborship, I can use two different approaches. One of them is to change my network type. For example, I can change it to point-to-point, or to a broadcast, or point-to-point broadcast, or other types of networks that are supported in OSPF. Or I can use neighbor command to statically create neighborship with other routers without expecting to receive any hello from each other. So I want to check both of these. The first thing I want to do is this. I go to configuration and router OSPF 1 process, and of course not to interface serial. No, that's it. Okay, I can add the neighbor command here, and I can tell that 10.0.0.3, that is the hub of my network, is a neighbor to me. So I did neighbor 10.0.0.3, and next thing is just a carriage return. Enter. This will change the configuration, and after a while I should see the neighborship is coming up. I can go to router 3 and go to router configuration and add neighbor 10.0.0.1 and hit enter, and after a while I should see the neighborship is coming up between these two routers, and you can see that happening. This tells me that neighbor 110.1.1.1 is now a neighbor with me on serial 00 interface without sending any hello messages and without changing the network type. Let's change the network type on router 3 as well. By show IP OSPF interface serial 00, you can see that the network type here is non-broadcast. This is the default network type on frame relay interfaces. So this is one approach to creating the neighborship, and it's going to be created statically without sending any hellos. You can see that I am suppressing hello for 0 neighbors. Now of course I'm not going to suppress hellos, but on this type of network I'm not sending any hellos, although you can see that I use the same intervals and dead time and waiting time for the serial interfaces on this serial interface as well. But because this is a frame relay interface, I'm not sending any hellos and I'm not expecting to receive any hellos. Now let's remove this no neighbor, and on router 1 again no neighbor, and go to second approach, that is the preferred one. I'm going to change the network type on router 3 and push this interface to send hello messages. So I go to interface serial 00, and using the IP OSPF network I can see that I have 4 different options. The first one is the broadcast. The broadcast is default on LAN interfaces, and of course I can add this to this type of network. The second one is non-broadcast, the default on frame relay interfaces, and you can see that it is working here. And the point-to-point and point-to-multipoints are other options. And because I know that this interface is a multi-point interface, that means it connects to different routers, I can select the point-to-multipoint option. So if I put the point-to-multipoint here, of course you can see that I have still a non-broadcast option here. That means this is a non-broadcast point-to-multipoint network, but I'm not going to use that. I hit enter, and this interface is going to start sending hellos. And although router 1 and router 2 are not sending any hellos, because they receive my hellos, they will accept to create a neighborship with me. You can see that loading is full and the neighborship and adjacency is created here. So this is kind of changing the network type. And let's see, if I select other types of network, what happens. If I go to select broadcast type, and this is the only option, you can see that after a while the adjacency is coming down, and this is because the other types are not receiving my hellos, I guess. Let's go to router 1, and under interface serial 00, I'm going to change the IP OSPF network to broadcast, and after a while I should see that this is adjacent with router 3. So whenever you use broadcast, you have to, agree in the other side. But whenever you use point to multipoint or point to point, you do not have to agree in the other, in either way, in either, directions. So just in one side, if you have the point to multipoint configured, the neighborship and adjacency is going to work. So let's go to router 3. I'm going to check some verification command on router 3 using the show IP OSPF interfaces in brief. You can see that on serial 00 I am the designated router, and this designated router role is on broadcast networks. So if I change my type of network, I may not see this designated router role on myself or any other router in my network. Broadcast networks tend to use designated router and backup designated router. But let's come back. I want to use IP OSPF network point to multipoint. I'm going to have the same command applied on router 3 and on router 2 serial 00, and now see the effect of this on router 3 show IP OSPF interface brief. You can see that here the state is point to multipoint. I do not need to use any designated router role or any other role that is on broadcast network. So this is, I guess, the preferred type on interfaces that are multipoint and interfaces that are serial interfaces. So this is better to have such thing. So you can see that if I run this, I'm sending and receiving hellos on two. I'm receiving hellos from two neighbors, and I have created two neighbors on this interface. That is the meaning of this. Now let's check the other piece of interface information. Show IP OSPF neighbor command that tells me I have not created and I do not need to create any designated router role. So I show this with a dash here. But on LAN interface, you can see that I am backup designated router. Of course, this is part of the order of operation, because my no, this is not because of the order of operation, because I have very lower a less neighbor ID. My neighbor ID is 110.133 and this is 110.166, so this is going to be the designated router, and I should not be the designated router. And speaking about network type, let's check another piece of information about loopback interface. If I go to show IP OSPF interface loopback 0, you can see that the default network type on loopback interfaces are loopback. And let's see the effect of this type of network on the advertisement of this interface. If I check IP route and the routes that OSPF has sent to me, you can see that the loopback interfaces are in 32-bit mask, And I know that I have configured these loopback interfaces with the 24-bit mask. Why it is like this? This is because the loopback network type assumes that this is the loopback interface is going to be advertised as an interface in 32-bit mask. It is not going to be advertised as a network. It is going to advertise as a host ID. So if I want to change this, I can go and change the loopback type on different interface. So if I want to do this, I can go to interface loopback 0 and change the IP Ospf network type to, for example, point, and this is supported with these. And next you can see that the IP address is going to be advertised as a network, not a host. So I go and save everything here. I copy this and paste it on different routers and switches. Now that this has changed, let's check the IP routing table. Show IP route. You can see that now I have some of the networks in 24 bits like this, and the switches have not saved the configuration yet. But if I check this again, you can see that the loopback interfaces on switches are going to be advertised on 24-bit masks. So you can see these networks here.